read to us from the book?
Sure, I'd be glad to. The book
I need you to stop
part chronological and it's
complaining.
part flashback.
This is
There's a
about people
lot
in
about
Mississippi.
what happened, which, as I said, forced our leaving. But there's also a lot about the history of the Delta. It's when I set out to write this book, I wanted it to be very honest, very authentic. I write a great deal about my feelings. The whole book is written from first person point of view. And so I was really wanted to be authentic. That was my number one goal. Some of the things I talk about are flattering to me, some not so much. But I was honest. One of the things that I remembered very vividly as I was looking at the articles and thinking back to the memories that they jogged was how I felt at the top of the stairs of the wine cellar when we were first learning about the break-in. This would have been on May 4th, 1990. And I had my children, who at the time were 6 and 8 years old, very young. I just rushed them out of the house because I had heard just kind of over the phone Sam talking to someone about the wine going down the drain, and I didn't know what he was talking about. So I'm going to read the part of when I first arrived at the winery with the kids, and Sam had already been there for a few minutes. I think at that moment, as Sam and I held our children in a huddle at the top of the stairs, all four of us knew on varying levels that our lives were forever changed.
Got published
That
by the
the
College of
mostly
Mississippi.
charmed existence we had enjoyed before this moment would be altered in some inconceivable way. We loved our routine, the comfortable, mundane cycle of work, play, and school, and I felt certain that this lifestyle was somehow coming to an end. In retrospect, I see that it was at this precise moment that I internalized the truth that any control we may think we have is an illusion, a trick played on our minds to keep us reasonably sane as we navigate life. The realization was paralyzing. So that was kind of how I felt, and it was so true. After that, we went over to the tea room. The winery was by far the most expensive loss that we had because this young man who was a disgruntled employee, we had fired him a few weeks before because we learned that he was selling drugs in the parking lot on the weekends. So obviously we fired him, didn't report him, we couldn't prove anything. And then a few weeks after that is when he came in, broke into the winery, went down to the wine cellar, opened all of our huge stainless steel vats, and released 8,000 gallons of wine, which was our entire livelihood. Then he went over to the tea room where he took a hammer and broke every pane of glass that was in the tea room, busted up a lot of the pottery and the glasses, turned over chairs, knocked over everything. And I was going to read a little excerpt from that experience as well, which is just a few, and the page after the one I just read. We stepped onto the front porch. The placard by the front door, top of the cellar tea room, was broken in two and thrown onto a wicker chair by the entrance. The blue French door was demolished, sharp shards of glass protruding from its frame. The sound of running water grew louder, and the ominous odor of propane wafted from inside. I peered through a broken pane in the door. Tables were overturned, and chairs sat at obscene angles among them. Blue and white sugar bowls and salt shakers lay in fragments, scattered on the floor. The hand-carved easel holding a chalkboard featuring the previous day's menu stood absurdly intact, witness to the night's devastation. The doors leading to the screened porch overlooking the Sunflower River were half off their hinges, and the cash box lay nearby on its side, open and empty, save for a few coins. Taking my children's hands once again, I stepped away from the porch and led them back toward the parking lot in front of the winery. We sat silently on the bench, waiting for Mary Beth to pick them up for school. We looked across the bayou and observed dust billowing in the wake of Jack's red tractor as he drove a turn row in the vineyard. We listened as a crop duster flew low overhead, headed towards our neighbor's farm to the west. Lizzie inched closer to me, smoothing out the wrinkles in her dress, a solemn look on her face. I held Matt's small hand in mine as he counted the few cars that sped past on the road. I was grateful that my children were well on their way to school by the time the sheriff's car pulled up in front of the winery, red and blue lights flashing under an impossibly blue Delta sky.
Wow. I read the book, but just hearing you reread that moment is extremely powerful and disturbing.
Sorry, buddy.
You described that scene in so much detail, that moment of realizing that your livelihood had literally gone down the drain. What did you have to go back and look at photos, or was that scene just seared in your memory?
This scene was seared in my memory. The articles and the photographs jogged my memory, as I said, and helped me remember these things. But I remember very clearly having the sensation that our life is not ever going to be the same again. I had no idea to what extent that was true. And actually, I didn't know that until 9 months later, when he came back with a roar once again into our lives. And that's when we decided we had to leave.
Right. Well, and you didn't know at first you didn't know who had done it at first.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah.
We assumed that it was someone who knew us simply because of the sheriff's questioning. He would say things like, "Who's mad at you?" You know, obviously this isn't a random prank type thing. This is someone who knew what he was doing to destroy your livelihood. And it didn't take long for us to realize it was probably the man who was accused of it, Ray Russell. He had, as I said, we had fired him, and he definitely had a vendetta against us that no one else we could think of would have done that. So the sheriff immediately went to their house, where he found the wine-soaked blue jeans in his living room. But the most disturbing thing he found, and this is really disturbing to a lot of people for different reasons, is when they searched his bedroom, they found in his top dresser drawer 4 dog collars of dogs of ours that had been killed or gone missing, that he had killed or stolen, killed, and kept the dog collars as mementos. Unfortunately, there were 2 more to come after that as we were trying to piece things back together. It was actually the killing of our black lab Sassy that was the final straw for us to leave.
I'm so sorry. I know it was long ago, but just reading those moments too, it's really heart-wrenching to hear. Well, we're going to take a quick break today. Our songs are by the jazz artist originally from Natchez, Oludaru. This is Okra. Come back and join us after the break for more conversation with writer Di Rushing about her memoir, The Delta in the Rearview Mirror.
Ooh, Melba, here come the cool man. And you know he keeps some good vegetables. Ooh, look at the cold. The radar. Ooh, Gantry, come on. Here you go. I get some more. Oh, that's so cool. That's so snuffy. No, you better. I'm a green banana. Yeah, I'll mix it.
I'm your cold man. I got strawberry. I got fresh peas. I got good looking ears of corn. I got the homemade drink. Grayling soup. I got some okra. Yeah, okra. I'm your cold man. Strawberry, strawberry. First pea, first green, peanuts. walnuts, hickory nuts,
Right here. We have like bags of them.
and I have some okra too.
Yeah, but there's one right there. You don't want any shit
Green peanuts from Miss Mary's backyard. Plenty, plenty